What's up, Factory 5 guys? This is my 1965 Shelby Cobra Factory 5 Mark IV roadster. And I just wanted to address the windshield stuff that we've been talking about on Facebook and on the forums and stuff. And I'm sure this has been talked to death. This has been a common problem, but guys will get the cracks up the windshield. What I've found, and I just want to give you a quick rundown, and this is informational purposes only. I think you should spend a lot of time on this to get this right. But how I did this was I took measurements from the front of the door to the holes, and they were off from the front to the back. This one was like 3/4 inches off aft, and the other one was, in reference to that, 3/4 inches forward. And when I would bolt this in, I went ahead and drilled my holes into my brackets. And I don't have my dash in yet, so hopefully we can see some of this in there. All right, yeah, it's turning out pretty good. So I drilled the holes, I measured, and then Factory 5 says center them, and I did that, and I've got some pictures I'll add when I put this together so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And the holes back here have a washer in between the post of the windshield and there, and it's still kind of loose. So I'm going to put another washer or two between there. But what I found was causing this window to really be under a lot of pressure was it was hitting the body here. And if you look right here, I had to hog this hole out pretty good, not too bad. I used a Dremel with just a cutting bit and hogged this out just maybe 1/4 inch wider and just a little bit deeper to give it some room so that I can lay it back. Now it's not bolted in tight, so you can see I can move it so I can get my angle right. And how Jeff Kleiner had told me to do this. So we're looking for, I think it's 37 inches from the back of the door. So 27 inches is what he said. So I'm like 27.5 right now, roughly. Open the door here. You got shoes on?
Yeah.
You coming to help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, baby.
Can you take out my hair? But there's a ponytail.
So I'm at 27 and some change. And I can lay it back a little more. But anyway, that's if you want to run a top later on. So the door's, I haven't gapped it, so it's a little tight. But what'd you do? Did you get a ponytail stuck? Oh, there it is. You got it. You gonna ride your bike?
I'm gonna practice riding a scooter. Scooter.
Okay. Well, you go ride the scooter, but Ethan's gonna have it right now, and then give him a chance, okay?
Then
All right. You hold on to it. All right. So coming around here, we have the other side of the windshield, and I had to cut this back, and you can see how much further over that line right here on the other side is right on this seam where they butted them together. So those two are. It seems like the windshield's off to the left, maybe a 1/2 inch. No, not right now, baby. And so the point is I installed it. My wife had one hand on this side, and I was on this. I had this screwed in with just 2 screws loosely so that it could wiggle, and I could get some different degreeing movement in that. Left everything loose, cut those holes enough to get them to slide in there. And then my battery tray's over here with where I place my battery in the foot box. And up here, or over here, you see those 2 bolts. There's one there and one there. Plenty of room to work. Really not a hard task to get this windshield in there. To have another person is I think a tremendous help. In fact, I think it's necessary. I had my son earlier holding the window wide, screwed in this side, and then went around and screwed that side in. So I had it in there at first to get the legs to see where they were in reference to the body and to the mounts, and they were pretty tight. So I had the legs come in at a bend, so I had to bend them out over my knee just a little bit, maybe just a couple degrees, nothing too crazy. And then put it back in there, and then I got it to slide down in there with no deflection. There's no flexing in here. You got to be very careful when you're putting the windshield in, so that if you feel any kind of pressure, don't force it. Back it back out, hog the holes out, you know, and do a little at a time, because you can't add material, right? But you can always remove it. And then get it to slide down in there. Once I had that, I took everything back apart, drilled out my holes on the legs of the post of the windshield over here on the bench, and I got a new tool the other day. I got a DeWalt 20 volt brushless drill, and this is new to me. Sorry to deflect here or come off the conversation. The impact driver. Yeah, this thing is so amazing. It beats the screw and bolt as you turn it, and it's 1/4 inch only, but this thing is amazing. And then this is my regular duty, and I have an old Craftsman as well. But anyway, I used this with a step bit and just taped it off so that I knew where I was going to drill the holes in the frame of the windshield, and then just C-clamped it to my bench. I didn't use this because I didn't want to chew up the chrome. So we're back over here, and I found that when I put this back in, I had the windshield out, put the posts in, bolted them in, and as I put the windshield back in, now I'm like, crap. It's what I did was screwed that side fit first, so it was done. Screwed this side in, and then as I pushed this down, I could literally see the window kind of bubbling, almost bowing, and I was like, it's gonna crack, like everybody's talking about on the forums. So there's this pressure here. If you're forcing it together to put these screws in, and the screws have aluminum. There's a brass strip that goes in behind here, and there's a C-channel. It slides in there, and as you draw these to the brass, there's no way for it to hit the windshield. So these screws are not causing cracks. I 100% believe that that's not a problem. You can see the brass, and then it stops against that metal back there as it draws against it. There's no pressure against that, and I'm not hogging them down either. These things will bite, and then I'm just slowly turning them with a Phillips. So they're going to be, you can see this one's backed out a little bit. I'm not going to crush them into the windshield. I think what people are doing, though, is when you do use the channel later on, if you're putting something in there like your visor or your wind wings, be very careful on those, because those will actually, I think, cause cracks. But what I found is in the installation, I was hitting again on this body. So I moved this, took this out, moved this again a little further out. Then as I slid the windshield back in there was no pressure. It fell into the frame. There's no forcing it and then screwing it together. So my steps were probably a little different than a lot of people's, and their application can be different, you know, for everybody. These cars are made so many different ways. But I found that if you're not forcing the frame, so if you look here, it moves around a good bit. It's loose. There's no pressure. There's nothing forcing it against any part of the body. There's no squeaking. It's sitting in there, wiggling around a little bit. So as I adjust it and cinch down the bolts, I'll make sure that there's always enough space or spacers between the frame and where the windshield sits now, and it's completely relaxed. Sorry I took the better part of going on 9 minutes to explain that, but another technique I used these shims under the rubber, and that allowed me to get where my holes were going to be drilled. This side of the body is about 1/4 inch taller than that one. Woo! Got some lightning and thunder out there. Anyway, hey guys, come in. So anyway, that gave me my step, and because this body over here is just ever so slightly taller, I drilled my holes a little bit different on this side to get my windshield to be level. I think it's been said before, when you're painting these cars and you're adjusting these cars, everything you do on them is going to be just a little off. You want to kind of use your eye more than your ruler or your measuring tool. And again, bearing shims under this side, got the windshield where I wanted it. It's completely relaxed in there. You see how it's loosely moving around. So I'll go back in, take the bolts that I have loosely in there, throw some more shims behind them, or, you know, Jeff recommends the body shims, but I'm going to use washers because I have, you know, cases of them laying around. Put all that back together, and as I cinch it, I'm going to make sure that I'm not cinching the windshield to the frame and squishing the window to bow it again. I want to make sure everything is relaxed, and I believe, and this is my first time, so take it for what it is, but I believe that's what they're talking about when you're dealing with these windshields and they're cracking. You got to be super careful when you install them to not have that thing flex at all. If there's any kind of pressure you're feeling as you put it in there, see, this is nice and loose. There's no pressure on it. I feel confident that I won't have a cracked windshield. And so I will update you guys as usual on the Facebook and the forums when I get back on there. I haven't been on there in a while, and let you know maybe a year down the road if it cracks or not. But that's my best guess at what everybody's concerned about. And so I hope this helps the next guy. I appreciate everybody giving me advice on it on all kinds of different areas. One more thing, the seal is a little bit up here, and this is to be expected. I mean, I got this as low as I could, but I'm going to hit this with a heat gun real light just to get that to kind of fill in, and it actually sealed. See how I told you the body over there is a little higher? It's sealed on that side because the body's just ever so slightly higher. So I tried to adjust for that, but I got just a little bit here. But I believe after the wind gets going down the road, over time it'll lay flat. It'll lay right. So anyway, good luck with your build, and appreciate you guys watching.